Now with Beats of War, since it was the first project that I ever created, I'll be honest with you guys, when I started building the world of Beats of War, it didn't start until issue 2, right? With issue 1, I kind of put ideas together in the script, send it to Gary Chadley, who is my co-writer, and we kind of edited the script together. And what came from what Ben drew in the story was surprising. We didn't know how that would look like. Then from issue 2, I took over. Like, ideas started flying from different directions. What am I gonna do? How will E.T.'s world look like? How will E.T.'s spaceship look like? Why does the suit he wear look like that? And I wanted to sort of capture his humanity as well, to be reflected in the way he talked, and also his alien side as well. What sort of family does he have? What sort of infrastructures do they have on Kepler planet? So Kepler planet was the planet I felt like could be where E.T. came from. You ask me why? I was just researching on planets that are almost close to the same likeness as Earth, and that's how I came to Kepler 456b. Yeah, I think that's the one. I saw it on NASA, you know, and I was like, okay, that would be perfect if that sort of planet, you know, can allow life to exist there. Maybe that alien civilization could be there. So that's how I sort of set that as their world. And then E.T. lives there after their planet is being attacked by robotic invaders, and then comes to Earth. Why does he come to Earth? His human side is from Earth, our planet, and his mother is originally from Scotland and linked back to Congo, and that's why he believes humans he comes to Earth because he believes these stories his mom told him growing up. So his mom used to tell him that, look, we are advanced, but humans also have the technology that is amazing, that could change lives. So E.T., when he noticed that his planet was losing, he's like, okay, I need to go to Earth, see if there's a way I could find some sort of weaponry to go and save my planet. That's how he comes to Earth. Now, building those two worlds, you want to make them really look unique. You want Kepler to sort of look unique from Earth. We already know how Earth looks like. The time at which it is coming on Earth is now, so we know how Glasgow looks like, because that's the part of Scotland he lands in. He actually lands in Loch Lomond, and then kind of travels to Glasgow. His spaceship lands there, crashes there. So upon landing here, we know how the world looks like. But now, how do we make his world look unique? When I was looking at Beats of War, I was thinking about, what if this planet that sort of allows life, which is twice the size of Earth, has a desert look to it? What if it's orbited by two suns? So two suns will probably be too bright, right? And why would they wear those helmets? If you look at E.T.'s helmet, it's got this sort of tinted glass on his helmet that would help them see when it's too bright, when those two suns are rising and are up in the sky. What would their infrastructures look like? Maybe there will be some sort of futuristic infrastructures, but also infrastructures that do let light bounce back on them. I don't know if I'm making sense. Like, if it's too bright, you want some buildings that would not take in the heat but would bounce back the light. That's how I was thinking, how would they look like? So those are all ideas that came after issue 2, and can I just say, I've been having so much fun. Even up to today, I've written up to Beats of War Volume 5. I'm still coming up with ideas that will keep adding to the world. That's why world building, as long as you have the core foundation of how the world is going to look like, you can always add bits to it as you go. For example, in Beats of War, he starts off with Mark 1 suit. You see how Mark 1 suit looks like. Now, as we are releasing Volume 2, we have a Mark 2 suit. Now we can add in extra gadgets. You know, we've got more tech stuff music related stuff that is part of the suit you see in the story, and you got other gadgets that pop from different directions. Now it's evolving, right? His world, more details. If we go there and visit the world and show the battles there, I can always play and add more ideas that I did not have in issue 1. So that's the process. It's really fun, and you have to keep an open mind to that. Now let's look at some of the images from Kepler, and then we can discuss a few. Particularly, there's one that I like. It's opening up now. Okay, so you've got this. It's one of the pages from issue 2 of Beats of War. It's kind of like the opening panel page. You can see the opening panel. You can see 2 suns. When I say 2 suns, they probably won't be like the suns from our planet. They could be 2 stars or 2 moons that orbit their sun, and the amount of light they produce could be different from ours. So if you look at them up in the sky where the spaceships are flying, you can see the 2 stars or suns, you would call them here on Earth, that orbit their planet. And then if you look at the infrastructures, I kind of wanted to, because if it's too hot, I just started looking at different buildings in Egypt, right? The pyramids. There's reasons why, you know, people, Egyptians from back in the day, build infrastructures in a place like that because it's really hot, it's sunny. So I took the same idea, put it on Kepler. Maybe the building infrastructure, the structures help bounce off light, like I was talking about. These are some of the ideas that you don't need to really have everything accurate. You just play around with ideas of what you've seen that inspired you and put it in your story. Now, you can see different infrastructures and some of the Etiennes coming to this temple. It's like a holy temple. And because their planet orbits 2 suns, I thought with their sign, with a sign that represents Kepler and the civilization, it would be this sign here on the buildings, like the 2 moons sort of crossing over on each other. That's pretty cool. Now you go inside the infrastructures, you can see one of the Etienne here, another sort of you know, sort of temple leader, you know, running some sort of funeral event. Something has happened, and this is kind of like a backstory memory. Now when it came to like cloth and everything, we kind of wanted to keep it simple. It's sort of a sci-fi world in a way, like sci-fi story. If these people are sort of advanced, we can still have some sort of simplicity to their outfits. I've seen like things they've done in Star Trek and Star Wars. There's usually a minimal amount of colors on what they wear, so I kind of wanted to keep it simple. This is E.T.'s sister from back in the day. She was crying about something, and if you see the outfits here, they're kind of like 1 color or 2 colors, like stripes going in their outfits. Now if you look at the markings on their faces, those were based on different tribes from Congo and Rwanda from like 100 years ago. Different kings and queens used to have those markings, but also people, as a form of a healing process. They used to do different cuts on people's faces, and they believed that that healed whatever illness. It could be like a fever or whatever. So I looked at all those images, drew inspiration, and put that as the part of the Etienne look. So if you look at another image from Beats of War issue 5, remember the buildings I was talking about? Look at the infrastructures here, how they look like. So that's kind of like what I was talking about. And we've not really had a story that takes us at Kepler properly, so you can see the streets and everything. We are yet to explore that in volume 6 and 7 of Beats of War. And if you look at some of their motherships above here, in the previous video on world building, I was talking about the Titan crane in Glasgow, and you can see their motherships at above. These are based on the designs of the Titan crane in Glasgow. Again, using some minimal, some things that you understand, things that structures that are around you. Now, if you look at their clothing, simplicity on what they're wearing, you know, I really drew inspiration from like Star Wars and other things that I watched, and how these characters in that world that is sort of technologically advanced, especially if you see them in their ship like in Star Trek or Star Wars, the way they dress up. If they're not like warriors, they will have simple sort of outfits that have minimum amount of colors. and maybe signs that represent their world. So that's kind of like what we were going for. And finally, I want to share with you another image. Let's see if that opens up. Yes. So here is the first time you sort of see the city of Kepler, right? Yeah. So when we do explore more to the story of the Etiennes, and we go deeper into their towns after the attack, we will show you how this looks like. But we now have a foundation of how their infrastructure would look like, and this we will explore as we go. You know, if you look at the interior of the commander, it's kind of like minimalistic but futuristic at the same time. And if you look at his computer and his desk and the way the wires coming out, it's kind of like looks like it's not like from this world, the way it looks. And then if you look at the queen mother looking away, you can see the desert world like we're talking about. You can see the city burning in the back. So kind of like what I was talking about previously. And if you look at their designs, the markings on their faces, exactly what I was talking about my character, looking at different tribes from like 100 years ago. So you can also look at some of the things that interest you. It could be your character or things you've seen, or a character that you've seen that inspired you. Then finally, when we're talking about the ship, which we talked about in the previous videos, the first time that E.T.'s sister comes to Earth, we see her with her spaceship. Now this spaceship is basically based on the design of a music instrument from Congo. And I was like, if she's been traveling on different planets and her ship is powered by water, which you get to discover in her story, how would that look like? So you would see these sort of bluish colors here, which kind of like represents the water that powers the ship. And obviously the design of the ship is based on the music instrument from Congo, which I took and then handed over to my artist, and then he kind of sketched something unique with a unique shape. And I always think that when you use different references from like shapes and music instruments or some structures that you've seen somewhere, you come up with some really unique designs. So I argue you to do that. Go out and look at different things that inspire you. It could be something you see when you're on a holiday somewhere. Look at it, draw inspiration, take a photo, put it in a folder somewhere, go back and look at it if you're working on your story or your film or something that will help you, you know, come up with more ideas based on the design of the ship. It doesn't necessarily always need to look like what you saw, but you can just use the shape and add more cool things around it to come up with the final look of your design. So yeah, that's kind of like how we build the world of Beats of War. We're still building it. So after volume 6, at volume 6 of Beats of War, you will see now the world of Kepler, because there will be so many battles happening there. But you also see the world of Nai, where she's kind of gone to seek refuge, which you see in our big story coming out next year. So yeah, go out, create, have fun. But finally, before I go, I don't know if you've noticed, her suit resembles the brother, and she has her own helmet. Remember the helmets I was telling you about? Yeah. So I kind of wanted to keep the unique. So all the commanders on Kepler, they have that green in their suits, and everyone else who is part of the army, they wear sort of brown suits to sort of match the desert look, you know. So all these are things I thought about, and they're becoming more clear and more clear as I write more stories. So yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Go out and build your worlds.